Okay guys, today I'm going to be showing you how I went about making this DL44 blaster. So this is Han Solo's main choice of weapon that he uses throughout the Star Wars movies. Very iconic, great looking blaster. There it is. So it's turned out really well, but I'll show you the process of how I went about making this. All starts with 3D printing as usual, so let's get to it. Alrighty, so here are all the parts 3D printed. I think there's 16 in total. Quite a lot of 3D printing, and some of them are really big pieces. So it took a very long time to print all these, but they're done. Everybody thinks that 3D printing is you just put it on the machine, print it out, and it's completely finished. But with these resin 3D prints, you've actually got to do a bit of post-processing on them. So for ones like this, what you first have to do is wash them in isopropyl alcohol or any kind of thing that'll get the excess resin off. So you let it soak in that, give it a scrub with a toothbrush, and then make sure you rinse it in water afterwards to just get all the excess resin and all the excess alcohol off it. So as soon as you do that, then you need to cure them. So I have this little curing box that I use. It's got a UV light attached to it, so what that does is it just fully cures the resin pieces, because when they come off the 3D printer they're not 100% cured. Once they are completely cured, you get them like this, and they've still got all the supports attached to them, which means you've got to clean all that off. So this is one, for example, which I've cleaned off all the supports. I do this by first clipping off all the ones on the outside, and then the others I just take outside to my belt sander and I sand it down flush. It produces a lot of dust, so you have to do this outside or in a really well ventilated area because it just absolutely covers everything. So this one, for example, you can see all the supports underneath there. This is what we're gonna have to sand down and remove all of that. So I'm about to go finish cleaning up all these parts and then we'll go from there. Alrighty, so here are all the pieces, just in a rough layout. It's time to start putting them together, so I might need to do a little bit of adjustment here or there to make sure that stuff fits together properly like that, but yeah, that's the rough outline. So let's get to it. I think I better start with the actual base and then I can do the scope section. Alright, so to glue all this stuff together, it's going to be using your standard super glue. And I just realized I printed two. Just realized I printed two of the one side. So I'll have to go print another one of these. Damn it. Right. I can start. Damn it. I can start doing some other sections first. But yep, I'll need to go do another one of these. That was a bit stupid. Alrighty, so I've put it all together. I have put the first layer of primer down, and as you can see, the details are just popping. This thing couldn't be more accurate. Actually, that's a joke. This one's a water pistol. That's one that I'm working on the side, just painting it up. This is the one that I'm working on now. So yeah, it's looking really nice. Details are looking really good, as you can see there. I do have some join lines between the different sections of the 3D prints, so I'm going to work to fill those in a little bit, but yeah, it's a really good 3D print, really good model. So I don't have the handles on at the moment because I'm going to be painting them separately, but they will just slot on like that. So I'm going to work on just filling in those little gaps, and then it's ready to start properly painting. So here are the handles finished. I tried originally doing it with the airbrush. I got the first layer down, but it was going down really thin because you have to actually dilute the paint a little bit for it to go through the airbrush, and it was just going to take way too many layers to get a nice coverage on it and to get a nice color come through. So I ended up just switching to the good old-fashioned paintbrush and acrylic paints, and as you can see here, they're looking really good. So I used a couple different colored browns to try and get a little bit of a wood grain in there. So I think that looks really great because I think these handles are actually meant to be wood. So added a slight wood grain to it and they're ready to go. So just to protect them a little bit, I'm going to give them a clear coat before we start assembling it all. But yeah, that's the handles done. I've done a little bit of painting on this. So I gave it a very light dusting of aluminium over the top of the gloss black, and it gave it a really nice color. So if I turn this off, you might be able to see the color a little bit better. But yeah, it's looking really good. I taped off here and colored the ends a little bit more. There's a bit of a gradient to the silver color at the end here. It doesn't show up too well on camera, but in person you can really clearly see it. One thing that's missing is a screw down here. So I've gone and picked up these. These are the closest ones that I could find to the reference material. So let's see how it looks. So I just need one of them for this. Need one of them for this project. We'll see how that goes. So that hole's a little bit too big. What I'm gonna do, gonna go get my drill bit, drill that out. I'm just gonna be very careful just to screw this in straight. These are screws that require a Allen key to go in. So let's just screw it in, see how it goes. There we go. All right, time to start weathering this. To start the weathering process on this, what I'm going to be using is some burnt umber brown paint. This is going to signify all the dirt and grime that builds up in all the crevices, so especially in all like the really sharp corners, we're going to put a lot in there. Always handy to have a paintbrush and some paper towel to wipe off any excess that you put in the wrong spot. So really simply, you just go along and just put it in and go from there. All right, so I finished adding all the dirt and grime to it. So let's see if you can see it there on camera, but just for an example, on the flash here, it just makes it look like a little bit rusty, a lot more used, a lot more worn. So now it's time to do all the highlights. So to do that, I have this silver permanent marker, which I just draw some ink out of, fill up my brush, make sure there's not much left on it. And then this is where I go in, and you just want to lightly touch all the edges. So you can see there, it's just adding those little scratch marks where this would naturally be sitting down. If he's dropped it a few times, you'll start to get some scratches all over it. So that's what the purpose of doing these highlights is, to really make some of the parts pop and make it really look like metal, like that. So I'll go ahead and do the whole thing now. Weathering is done. Looking great. Now it is time to glue on these handles. So again, these are 3D printed handles, but I've painted them to look like wood, so you can see a bit of the wood grain in there, giving it a clear coat because you're gonna be holding the blaster by the handle, obviously, so you don't want all the paint to rub off. So now it's time to glue these on in place. Just gonna use super glue. Make sure you just get a good amount all around the outside. Get your handle and just be really careful here. Put it in the right spot. As soon as it's in the right spot, just hold it there. So super glue sets up pretty quickly, but you don't want it kind of slipping around and then sticking itself for all eternity in the wrong spot. Alrighty, let's put the other side on. So, same thing, super glue all around the perimeter and a little bit on this inside support for the handle. Make sure it's in the right spot, and then let's just hold it there. How good does that look? Oh, it's actually quite weighty. It feels quite nice. Let's quickly see how much it weighs. Be interested. All right, negative there. This weighs about 600 grams. It's actually quite heavy. Got a really nice feel to it. The 3D print has really come up nicely. Jeez, that's nice. Last thing I want to do is put this lens in the scope. Probably not super duper screen accurate because I think it's probably just a clear face, but I think it'll actually look really good having this like that in the end. So gotta be very careful in doing this section. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the super glue on the inside of the scope there, and then put this in nice and gently. There it is, look at that. Makes it look like a real scope. The other end, I'm just gonna leave open, like that, but I think that looks great. There it is, Han Solo's DL44 blaster finished. One of the most iconic guns from all of Star Wars, or blasters from all of Star Wars, and I'm just incredibly happy with how this turned out. I think that's great. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Thank you very much for watching. Plenty of other Star Wars builds on my channel, as well as a few other things, so like, subscribe, check out my other videos. Hope you have a good day, guys. All right, I'll see you later.